Everyone has something that they're like overcoming or something that keeps them motivated or keeps them like fighting.
And there's Journey Tucker. Oh my goodness.
I really just am doing it for them, like my mom and my sisters. I'm really just, understanding how far I've overcame and just continuing to fight for them.
Growing up in Buckeye, Arizona, Journey Tucker spent most of her time on a court. But it wasn't until high school that she stepped onto one with knee pads and a volleyball.
After I signed up for basketball, I wanted to do a fall sport and I wanted to do badminton. So I was gonna sign up for the badminton, but the badminton was right next to the volleyball table. And then the two JV coaches were like, "Oh, how tall are you?" And freshman year, I was around like 6'1". And they were like, "Oh, you should sign up for volleyball instead." I've always loved sports, so I was willing to, try something that's relatively new to me.
Was there a moment when you look back that you were like, "Oh yes, this is when I fell in love with volleyball"?
I would say my sophomore year, when I got more into discussing about potentially playing in college. And having that discussion with coaches and things like that, I was like, "Oh, okay, I definitely want to do this." And I think that was the turning point to actually putting all my love into the sport.
As Journey's love for the game progressed and accelerated, so did her talent. But the winter of her junior year, on her way to a club volleyball tournament in Nashville, everything came to a halt.
I'm dozing off, and then the next moment I wake up, I'm in a wheelchair. There's a stretcher next to me. Everybody's off the plane and I'm so confused. And she told me that I had a seizure. And that's when I just freaked out because up until that point, I didn't know I had a seizure. I've never had one. So that's when I was just freaking out. I was just oh my gosh, what is this? And then we went to the emergency room and they did an MRI scan, and that's when they found a mass on the left side of my brain.
And sadly, you guys were familiar with this, right?
Yes, my sister, Alea, she passed away when she was 13 due to a brain aneurysm. Her and I had the same tumor and they found it too late. So it just grew, and they just found it too late. So yeah, but her and I had the same tumor, pilocytic astrocytoma. My mom and my sister, they were 100% my rocks throughout it.
After having surgery to remove the tumor, Journey's summer was filled with MRI scans and doctor visits.
I was luckily able to get right back into the swing of things my senior year.
When did Arizona Volleyball come into the picture?
And there was a tournament in December where Dave Rubio was there, and he was talking to my mom, and he was like, "I think we're gonna, offer her." And then later that night, Rita, she called me and she offered me, and I took it on the spot.
She's near and dear to my heart because her story is like my story, starting in 9th grade and being late to the game, but her willingness to learn and develop makes it very encouraging for me as a coach because she just wants to absorb everything.
Not only was I extremely grateful to get an offer from a Power 5 program, I also, after everything that occurred with my tumor and everything, I realized that I wanted to stay home.
Tucker to hands over for the point.
And now you're in the middle of a breakout season for yourself. As you look back and think about all you've been through and just the different obstacles, what have you learned?
I would say just instead of seeing what I've been through as maybe a burden or a road stop, just something that I have overcame.
She's a competitor, but she's a quiet competitor. She adds a calmness that is very reassuring, but because she's so physical, she allows others to sit back in awe and go, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe she just did that." And she'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that."
It's always whenever I'm having like a tough time or difficulties, I always just have to remember like what I've overcome and how that was a setback, but I was able to overcome that setback.
Shot.